it has to be organized on a very short notice, and not because of anything else. Because most thing, all of y'all whom you have been sent me the SWOT analysis. What I've done is I have been sent you a sample stage one work done by one of my former students. That is fairly a good one. That why I shared that you written what kind of things you should put in that and all those things. Let me tell you, in the graded to the graded unit 2 assignment, this research assignment, right? If you really ask me, it's one of the toughest one for a diploma student. It's not an easy one because the expectation when it comes to the stage one, stage two, and the stage three, especially on stage one and stage two, the expectations from the student life, when you're going to be in your profession or in your work, you got to know, what is the research and how it is going to help you. Okay, definitely it is going to help you to an extent to prepare the students for a corporate assessment models also has to be fairly strong enough to bring the best out of the student. So when you start doing these particular studies, the research, obviously it will bring you best out of you. Right now some of you all who have come to the first class, or if you have seen that now it is happening from your friends or senior colleagues, when we start looking at the expectation from the university from you is quite like surprising. It's quite big. So I thought, because you have started doing it, I want you proper direction right from the beginning. Now, so what happens in a classroom in a session, we don't come and tell everything right from the beginning. We allow you to do a little bit of work and correct and things like that. But I feel since you can refer and things like that, giving a very very clear direction right now from the beginning is going to be useful for you, not only on this. Well, there are a lot of things. You would have gone some of the topics what you have talked to me is very good ones, because what made me to think in that particular line is you started thinking in a line from a real world situation, a real world situation. That is one of the fundamental of particular research. You never thought something about it. You thought about a company. You thought about a problem. You would have heard about this somewhere. You would have read about this somewhere. That is the way those type of titles or those thought processes start. So all of you, when I look at the way you have started your work is excellent. It's very good. You are in the right track. Okay. Now, from today, what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to have a long class of 45 minutes or whatever it is. Now, ideally, it will be about 30 minutes. I put some slides for you to make sure what is these, some of the titles when we talk about what is, say, research objectives, when we talk about research statement, what does it really mean, right? Now, I will send you this presentation to you, today what I made. I will put it in the Moodle file. First, when we talk about a research problem is of a functional area. It can be a condition to be improved, right? In an organization, a condition to be improved, a difficulty to be eliminated, or a tension that exists. I'll give you some examples. But an area of concern means it can be an HR area, human resources area, people performance area. We can talk about sales development area, marketing development area. So in an organization, every sort of corners, every functions has the problems. We expect that to be in a particular level. Most of the time, it is not going to be there. If everything is hunky dory and perfect, we don't need big managers and directors and strategic planning to run like that, right? Because we have put all our knowledge and things like that, it does not mean the things are going to work like right? Now take today's situation. Last month we never expect the world is not going to be hit like this. Sri Lanka is going to be hit like this. We are going to be at home and conducting our sessions. Okay. Now, so any situation, any corner of that organization, any corner of the society will have this problems. Now we'll say the area of concern, like in what is this function, right? A contingent to be improved. Now, we talk about we are making profits of say 20% per annum. No, your organization, you are one of the directors or one of the senior managers. The organization says, right? The director board says we are aiming at 25% minimum as the gross margin or net profit. What are you going to do? You're going to look at all the issues what we have, all the areas where you're going to spend money, the cost centers. You're going to look at all the profit centers, which are the products, what are the things, and you ask your managers and executives give me information about all those things. You study all those things, you put it in a particular format in an Excel sheet or in a different sheet, or you ask somebody to do some sort of analysis of those data, and you come and tell your directors, you look, and if you want to achieve 25% gross margin or profits for the year, these are the things we are going to do. Exactly, that is what we do in a research. So this type of research will make you ready for a situation in a corporate environment. Whether it is in your business, whether it is somebody else's business, if you are involved, it is the same. So this is what we talk about, things to be improved. Then difficult to be eliminated sometimes. The organization as a practice, you are using in a manual work for certain things. Everything is manually done. It has to be eliminated. Or you spend in about to get a particular we will say you are buying your raw materials, and you are making your products, you are processing it, converting that into products, and you are going to sell this in the market. Now that is a simple term. What I said, buying raw materials, you have a factory, you are manufacturing and selling. Three simple steps. What I said. But you look at when you buy the goods, you're going to buy the good quality raw materials. Your process has to be because cost efficient, waste efficient, and things like that. And you're going to sell it to the right customers, right segment, and things like that. Now, when you talk about efficiency, right, or difficult to be eliminated, sometimes you buy goods, your raw materials you buy for 3 months. So you have a 3 month stock of raw materials. Then you convert that into products. So in your process, right now that the it'll take about say another 2 weeks. And once the finish good comes, you keep it in your stores, and you are going to sell it to your customers, another business, or your consumers, or your distributors, or whatever it is. And these goods goes to them. You the finished goods is going to be in your stores for about another 2 months. You give 1 month credit to your distributors or your partners. What happens is, if you really see, that is 1 month credit, that month stock holding, that is 2 weeks in manufacturing, another 2 months stock holding of your raw materials. For a 1 month sale, roughly about 5.5 months of money tied up. To eliminate this particular money tying up can be a question of research. These things happens in real life in a companies, right? So this is what we say problems, right? Or troubling in a question, right? Now say, are we efficient enough? The industry is not doing so much, but we are doing only this much. In theory or practice, we have to evaluate these problems from a theory and a practice point. Now, say when I talk about theories, we generally have an idea. People come and say, "May theory, may companies what vadana, make a theory part kata kalla vadana." Actually, hari moda kata. Say why I say that is nowhere in the world the theory came first, and people started looking at a theory and started working on that. In anywhere, in a social setup, in also or manufacturing or organization, in any particular social setup. First of all, people started doing something on their own understanding. They started repeating the same in a practice again and again because they thought no, this is the best way of not doing that. The scholars came and identified those best practices and identified a particular trend in that. Those trends became theories. So theories didn't come first. Theories came second. Now, what we are trying to do is when you say theoretical application, we look at a particular model, we look at a particular working process, we identify a theory and check that whether that process is working as per theory. Okay, so all these things you should understand why we do that, to make a meaningful understanding and a deliberate investigation. So identify a problem, you put up a theory, you identify in others' experiences and things like that to have a meaningful understanding of the situation and a deliberate investigation. This is the way you identify a particular problem. Now, what happens is once we do all these things, that points to the need for a meaningful understanding that you should understand and the great investigation. So, what happens when you start writing it? You have thought about a problem, right? Now, today, you know that it, say, you have an issue. You talked about people are leaving an organization, or they are not doing well, the performance. You that you realized. Then you start read about it. Then why that is happening? You will ask questions like that. Then you read about it again and again. Understand that more. Your reading comes from various literature and things like that. When you read and understand that problem, the clarity of the problem is much better for you. Then what happens? You have identified these particular problems not very clearly. Then you look at what is the purpose of this research. Why are you doing that? When you start putting this in writing, the reader, say if I'm reading, or if another person who's going to read that, right? Boss, you are doing in organizational sense, so you're giving it to a boss for him to read. The reader is oriented to the significance of the study. Why it is important. Organizations have more problems. Now, organizations or the director board doesn't try to sort out all the problems. They will take what are the important problems, or the prioritize those problems, or the critical problems you call it, right? You look at the criticality of the problems, or what problems have the biggest impact on your business. Choose those problems and solve that one by one. Why they take a particular critical prioritize and analysis is you may not have an organization or an individual may not have all the resources they need to correct all the problems what they have. So this is what the significance of those things has to be understood. Now, in your case, you say, look, this particular company, the people are leaving. When you say people are leaving, okay, people joining and leaving is quite common in any organization. So why this significance for this in a company? You say you are a garment manufacturer. Why it becomes important? Why it is significance is in the industry. That means where your competitors are. Your we call it the people leaving. We call it attrition. Right? The word is attrition. The attrition rate is only 2% per annum. But in your company, the attrition rate is 20%. So it's much, much higher than your industry norm. Okay, so that becomes the issue now. If you are also 2%, if all the others are 2%, then it is not a problem. If you are 3% when all the others are in say somewhere about 2%, it may not be a problem. You can really look at that problem to sort out. But when you have in a larger problems, you don't look at okay, it's okay 3%. But your organization is 20%, others are 2%. That is a problem. Then you look at right now the other organizations, in profitability. They will say our profitability is say 20% per annum. Our net profit is 20%. You are making only 3%. So you try to look at is there a connection in between this profitability and staff attrition? You try to create an understanding in between effect and the cause. Now you are refining your mind, right, in two elements to understand. You're looking at is there a problem? Is there a connection existing in between these two? Then you are creating. How we know that is being done? By asking more questions. So what questions we talk about? Okay, the attribution, the attrition rate is say somewhere about 20% in our company. So what? If all the other companies, attrition rate is 2%, but no, then profitability is say 15%. In your company, the attrition rate is 20%, but your profitability is 40%. So what? So for every answer you started creating in your mind, you start that so what question. Again and again, with every answer you ask a question from you. So what? The so what questions will bring you more understanding, more learning, more discussion. That will make you to refine your problem statement. You may understand right now if I take those two elements, organization profitability and attrition. You may understand the problem is not just attrition. The problem is people are not happy. They are not satisfied. So you slowly think about it. You look, my problem is not problem. Yeah, finally it is, your profitability. But why people leave is because they are not happy. They are not satisfied. When you started looking for reasons why people are not satisfied, because your research will tell you, right, if there are satisfied people, they don't leave. So what happens is, so what questions will always make you read more, listen more, discuss more, argue more, and make your problem statement a much more significant one for you first. And got to have that particular understanding when you're doing a research. You look, and I know about that problem. You must have that confidence to come and put it. Okay, right? So that is the problem statement, the purpose of problem statement. So the so what questions to make you much more clarity and precision. Identification, what would be studied. Now, I would have done it when we were, some of you all know, when you talk about this is minor subject or this is my title, what do you think? I would have asked so many questions from you. Why do you think like that? Why it is that? So that type of discussions will lead to much more clarity in our the subjects what you're choosing. This will lead to identifying what you're going to study, identify the key concepts and terms, and all those things slowly will come into you. Then, what is a good research statement? When we talk about a research in a statement, it talks about a broad area. First, now say you will start with the background of the study or the background of the organization, the background of the problem mind, whatever way you call it. The problem statement is you give a overall picture first. The industry is not like this. The organizations are like this. They work in this environment. The drivers of this particular business, this industry is this. I'll give an example. Globally, clothing industry is one of the big industries. The where the for European and American companies mostly come and put their factories in Asian uh, countries because the labor is cheap. Labor is availability and the cost of labor is cheap. Okay, so they come and put in those factories and they manufacture and the goods are sold in and they are put in the country. That is how we say. That is how it is. So that is how the business is done globally. Now, in that particular scenario, we talk about the local industry. We said no, that is labor intensive. Other one is we said it is cost effective. So, labor intensive means the cost effective labor in an organization is one of the key drivers for that industry. So, these are global scene works, and these were the local organizations work, right? When you're talking about uh, attrition rate of people, definitely you're connecting that. Your argument is connected from the global industry, the global business level, and you are talking about local manufacturing. The local manufacturing is driven by one of the key drivers is cheap labor, labor availability, and cost of labor. This is how a problem statement is created. You don't keep it too broad. You don't bring it to too narrow. Okay, step by step, you talk about. You're looking at this is what the problems looks like. Now, my company is there with that no problem. So, what happens actually from a broad area, global industry, you have slowly talked about that with various things connected that to your organization. A problem statement should have very clearly all those elements. You can write that in a point form. You can write, say bullet point. You can write. You say type. You can write. There is no restriction on that. The whole idea of the writing style or the academic writing in a style is to convince the person who is reading. So you can show graphs there. You can talk about pictures there. All that is your choice. Okay, this is how roughly a problem statement is defined. Then you look at what we need is right. That is what are the research objectives. Now, generally, the research objective when we talk about it is the same thing what you are mentioning as a title. But when you look at the research objectives, now say you are talking about attrition. So, company you are trying to find reasons for that. So you can divide these objectives into two areas: primary objectives and secondary objectives. Primary objectives ideally should be only one. You talk about here finding the factors influencing attrition of X company, or what are the labor factors influencing the profitability of the company. So, like that, through your problem statement, through all your what do you call the questions you're asking, right? The questions of so what questions you have defined what is your problem, and you are dividing it up, coming from there. You are designing your objectives very clearly. Okay, that can be a primary objectives, and the others can be secondary objective. You can keep in any amount of secondary objectives, but I would suggest to keep about 2 or 3 maximum. The reason is, if you say you're going to find out the factors influencing attrition of an organization, the secondary question can be what can be done about it. But that is what going to be very important for the organization, right? So that is what we talk about organizational objectives. So the not organizational, the research objectives. Then we talk about the significance of the research. Significance of the research primarily will tell you, if you don't do this research, either you or if the organization doesn't do this research, what happens to them? Because you have to bring in a lot of seriousness. You have to choose a particular subject. And if you don't do this is the global industry, this is the local industry, and you are going to have a problem like that. Because if you don't create that significance for your study, then it's not worth studying. Right now, you take, for instance, I'm saying that I'm 58 years old, and my eyesight is slightly poor. And doctor says, you look in a man, you are 58 years old, so obviously that the weight is going to be there. It's not significant for the doctor, isn't it? You don't make a complaint about it. But you take a child who is 2 years in a time. If the child has the same problem, I mean, not only the parents, and everybody is worried. Why? But that guy has a much bigger future. It is the same problem can be much more significant for that person. So your problem significance come in not only because of the size of the problem. It depends on the company. It depends on the industry. It depends on what is happening around us, the external factors, the internal factors. So all the problems the organization is going through is not significant. That you should understand. If you want to show that is significance, you have to find data proof. You have to get data from the organization, or if you're talking about a particular company, you look if this happens, you are trying to understand the connection in between, the correlation in between these two. Because if you don't do this is why it's not going to happen. You are not going to be competitive in the industry. You are not going to be competitive in the global scenario. These are the things that becomes much more important. How do you identify your significance for your study? Okay, guys. So I talked about how to create that significance. What is the research statement, and things like that. Now, see, when you are writing in the introduction part, the stage 1 part, all these things should be there. On the sample, you would have seen the titles. So there's a lot of information you have to collect, because your proof has to be not statements. Now what happens is, in Sri Lanka, there is a lot of development is taking place. That is a statement. In a research paper, in a professional paper, that is not going to be accepted. When you say talk about development, you have to talk about what is the development is taking place. How your GDP is growing, how many buildings coming right now. What is that? We have, You say, we are going to build. There is a port cities, coming up in Colombo. That is good for Sri Lanka. A grade 4 student or a grade 8 or a O-level student saying it is good for Sri Lanka is accepted. It is not accepted, from a management student, from a college student. You will say, so much of, millions of, 1.3 billion dollar, million dollar, 1.3 billion dollar investment, and it is going to be completed in 2030. It is going to give, 30,000 jobs. The exact, the geographical area is, so much. So when you are talking, you can't talk like a person who is on the road. You can't talk like an O-level student. You have to talk like a business student. So all the statements, what you are making has to be substantiated. It has to be proved. I think out of, say we have 2% attrition or 20% attrition, it has a problem in this point only 70. So there is a gap of, HR, for about 30% all the time. That is the way a problem has to be proved. You cannot talk about just, I think, this is what they said, make a muddy is not enough, or my auntie told me, uncle told me, Allah Rachi told me, doesn't come into a particular research state. Proved beyond any doubt. Okay, guys, that is what I want to talk to you all on the stage 1. Okay, I don't want to talk to you all about the stage 2 and all. First, complete this. Now, don't worry about how many pages you are going to write. First, even one page, 1.5 page, write a day. You say, I'm going to write, you can correct it. And if you want my particular input, send it to me and say, I'll give you my comments on those. Okay, I will send you, most probably that another 3 days time, we will have, will depend on what you send me. Depend on what you are sending in me, we'll have another chat very soon. Okay, I'll keep you all informed. Okay. Any questions, guys? If you have any questions, you can type it now. I can answer, or you can send it to me also. Right on my, you can call me, or you can send a mail or whatever it is. Okay.